Hey, welcome back to the Chum. It's 2015, which means we've got a whole new crop of Shark Tanks to pick apart. Hi, I'm Jennings Moss. I'm the editor of the Upstart Business Journal, and I'm your host here at the Chum, which is our regular show that's all about Shark Tank. Now, with the new year, I'm going to adjust the Chum just a little bit. I'm still going to give you my picks for the best pitch and the biggest business deal of the night, but I'm going to save those for the end and instead add a greater focus on business lessons. Because that's really the strength of the tank. It's not just a good piece of entertainment on ABC, it's also an hour that's filled with entrepreneurial lessons for you. So, here are 3 takeaways from the 13th episode of Season 6 of Shark Tank. Number 1, know when you've got to move fast and hit it aggressively. That lesson comes from the Kang sisters of San Francisco, who started the site Coffee Meets Bagel, which adds a degree of kismet into the online dating model. They came with a steep ask, $500,000 in exchange for 5% of their company. Now, one reason that they wanted that amount was they determined that they needed to accelerate their business quickly or risk being overtaken by somebody else. Robert Herkovic thought this was a risky strategy. Barbara Corcoran didn't like their financials. But Mark Cuban saw something here and effectively offered them $30 million for their business, something the sisters quickly turned down. This, by the way, was the largest financial offer ever made in the Shark Tank. Now, the 3 Kang sisters were sure they had a winner. This night, though, they didn't have a deal. Now they're just going to have to move faster to execute on what they wanted to do. Lesson number 2, be willing to give up a little bit more in equity if it means you're going to get a lot more at the end. This lesson comes courtesy of another San Francisco entrepreneur, Xander Adel of the startup Doorman. Xander wanted $250,000 in exchange for 10% of his business. Now, Doorman's premise is that you have packages sent to them and then you arrange for delivery to you based on your own schedule. The idea got offers from 3 sharks, Robert, Barbara, and Lori Grenier, who partnered together and offered to do this for 20% in equity. Now, Lori put her finger on a good point when she said they all came from different cities so they could help him with his expansion plans. But Xander balked at giving up 20% of the business, and Barbara dropped out, which left Lori and Robert teaming up together, refining their bid and offering him 15%. And Lori even saying she came from Chicago, which is Xander's next city on his expansion list. But he again refused, instead going with Robert and a deal to give up 12% in equity. Now, was that additional 3% worth losing a shark in one of your target cities? Xander's going to have to wait and find out on that one. Lesson number 3. No investor wants to hear excuses, especially when you're pitching them for that very first time. And that's the message that SkinnyShirt's Julie Kalhimian got when she tried to explain an odd pattern in her revenue numbers over the first few years of her business. First, she blamed a friend who had given her some bad advice, and then she blamed a manufacturer who hadn't delivered as promised. Now, the Sharks weren't having any of this, with Kevin O'Leary saying, don't tell me why you screwed up, tell me how you fixed it. Mark didn't think she had a definitive plan and was concerned about the numbers. And Barbara, though she thought that Julie held her own in the tank, thought that she felt sorry for herself and described this as her Achilles heel. It all goes back to that old saying, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. So those are the lessons. Now let me get to the honors of the night. Pitch of the night, I'm going to give this to Coffee Meets Bagel. The 3 Kang sisters really delivered a great presentation, offered a solid sense of where their business was going, and they showed they had the strength to turn down a big dollar amount that didn't quite fit with their vision. But the deal of the night, this goes to a second company with bagel in its name. That would be Bantam Bagel in New York. They wanted $275,000 in exchange for 11% of their business, which makes these bagel bites filled with different kinds of cream cheese. They ended up making a deal with Lori. They had to give up 25% in equity to do it, though, but given Lori's track record in the tank, probably a pretty good bet. That's it for the Chum this time. Until next week, watch Shark Tank on ABC and check out UpstartBusinessJournal.com for a daily fix of entrepreneur and startup news. Thanks a lot.